geisha, or oiran. At first glance, they look similar. Elegant kimono, stunning hair, and timeless beauty. But here's the twist. One is a guardian of art, the other a symbol of luxury and desire. Let's break the myth and reveal the real difference. What's up, legends? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling another cultural mystery straight out of Japan. What's the difference between a geisha and an oiran? If you've ever seen photos of women in dazzling kimono, tall wooden shoes, and elaborate hairstyles, you might have thought, oh, that's a geisha, right? Well, maybe not. That might have actually been an oiran. So let's break it down. Two professions, two histories, often confused, but actually very different. Who were the oiran? Oiran were high-ranking courtesans in Japan's Edo period, 1603-1868. They lived and worked in government-regulated pleasure districts called yukaku. But here's the thing. Oiran were not just prostitutes. They were the elite courtesans, famous for their education, fashion, and cultural refinement. To even be in their company, a client had to be extremely wealthy and influential. Oiran were skilled in conversation, poetry, calligraphy, and music. They could entertain nobles and samurai with intellect and charm, not just beauty. Their appearance was also iconic. Huge, elaborate hairstyles decorated with dozens of hairpins. Extremely ornate kimono layered and tied with their obi, sash, in the front. Tall platform sandals called komagata or mitsuashi that made their walk very distinct, slow, deliberate, almost theatrical. In fact, oiran didn't walk like everyone else. They performed the famous oiran dochu, a slow, parade-like procession turning the streets into a runway of luxury. Who are the geisha then? Now contrast that with geisha. As we covered before, geisha are professional artists and entertainers, not courtesans. Their focus is on traditional arts, shamisen music, tea ceremony, dance, and refined conversation. Geisha's look is elegant but simpler compared to oiran. Their kimono patterns are less flashy, and their obi is tied at the back. Geisha wear smaller hairstyles and fewer ornaments because their role is about subtlety and grace, not extravagance. In short, geisha, National performance artists. Oiran tabamaf courtesans who also mastered cultural refinement. Key differences. Quick-fire style. All right, let's make this easy to remember. Profession, geisha. Artists, entertainers, oiran. Courtesans, high-class sex workers who also entertained. Focus, geisha, art, music, dance, elegance. Oiran now beauty, companionship, luxury lifestyle. Fashion, geisha, subtle, elegant, refined. Oiran extravagant, colorful, heavily decorated. Obi, sash, geisha tie their obi at the back. Oiran tie it at the front for practical reasons. Shoes and walk. Geisha wear normal wooden sandals. Oiran wear tall platform shoes and walk in slow, dramatic steps. Interview moment. Imagine sitting with both. A geisha from Kyoto, sipping tea gracefully. An oiran from Edo's red light district, dazzling in her towering shoes and golden kimono. Ask them what defines their work. The geisha might say, I am here to bring beauty through art, through song, dance, and conversation. The oiran might reply, I embody beauty itself, luxury, status, and allure. To spend time with me is to enter a dream few can afford. Same stage, different performances. Where are they today? Geisha still exist today, though in smaller numbers, mainly in Kyoto. They continue to practice traditional arts and are considered cultural icons of Japan. Oiran, however, disappeared as Japan modernized in the late 1800s. Courtesan culture faded away, and with it, the oiran's way of life. But you can still see oiran today in reenactments and festivals, where performers dress up in full oiran style and parade through the streets, keeping the memory of their artistry alive, even if the profession itself is gone. Closing thoughts. So geisha and oiran, two figures often confused but worlds apart. The geisha, artists, entertainers, cultural guardians. The oiran, courtesans of the past, luxurious, extravagant, symbols of Edo's pleasure districts. Both left their mark on Japanese culture, but in very different ways. One survived into the modern day, The other lives on only in memory, history, and parades. Next time you see a picture of a woman in ornate kimono, you'll know the difference. Subtle elegance means geisha, breathtaking extravagance. That's an oiran. All right, legends, that's today's cultural deep dive. Smash that like if you learned something new and drop a comment. Would you rather attend a private geisha tea house or witness the glamorous oiran parade? Don't forget to subscribe for more cultural stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay respectful, and peace out. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often wrapped in mystery, beauty, and a whole lot of misconceptions: the geisha. Now, depending on where you grew up, the word geisha probably sparks two very different images. In Japan, she's an artist of tradition, elegance, and discipline. In the West, too often she's been misunderstood, reduced to stereotypes and exotic fantasies. So today, we're putting both perspectives side by side to figure out how the East and West see geisha and where the truth really lies. Interview moment. If I could sit down with a Kyoto Maiko and also a Westerner who only knew geisha through movies, here's what they'd probably say. The Maiko. My work is to practice beauty through discipline. I study music, dance, and conversation every day. I don't sell my body, I offer art. The Westerner. Wow, I honestly grew up thinking geisha were like courtesans. But now I see, that was totally wrong. Segment 1, the Eastern lens. Let's start in Japan, the birthplace of geisha. The word itself means person of the arts, and that's really the heart of it. Geisha are professional entertainers trained in music, dance, conversation, and refined etiquette. From a young age, apprentice geisha, called Maiko, study for years. They practice traditional instruments like the shamisen, perfect classical Japanese dance, and master the subtle art of hosting guests with grace. In the East, especially in Kyoto, where geisha culture still thrives, they're seen as living cultural treasures. They're guardians of centuries-old traditions, embodying discipline, artistry, and elegance. It's important to highlight this. Geisha are not courtesans. They're respected professionals, entertainers who dedicate their lives to art and refinement. Ask anyone deeply familiar with Japanese tradition, and they'll tell you, geisha are artists before anything else. Segment 2, the Western lens. Now, let's switch over to the Western imagination. For decades, geisha were viewed through a much different lens. Part of this comes from how early travelers, soldiers, and writers described them during the late 19th and 20th centuries. With little understanding of the culture, many Westerners confused geisha with courtesans or sex workers. Hollywood didn't really help here. Movies like Memoirs of a Geisha, while beautifully shot, often leaned into romanticized or eroticized stereotypes. In Western pop culture, geisha became symbols of mystery, submission, and sensuality. So while the East saw geisha as disciplined artists, the West often painted them as exotic fantasy figures. This clash in perspective fueled misunderstandings that still linger today. Segment 3, the cultural collision. What makes this fascinating is how these two perspectives have started to overlap. In the age of the internet, more people are discovering the truth about geisha through documentaries, travel experiences in Kyoto, and Japanese voices reaching global audiences. But here's the twist. Even though misconceptions exist, geisha have also become symbols of cross-cultural fascination. Some Western artists admire their elegance, fashion designers borrow kimono-inspired silhouettes, and performers study the discipline behind their art. It's a reminder that while stereotypes can distort, they can also spark curiosity, pushing people to learn what's real. Segment 4. Why this matters today. You might be thinking, okay, but why does it matter how East and West see geisha? Here's the deal. Geisha aren't just women in pretty kimono. They're part of Japan's intangible cultural heritage. Preserving their role means preserving centuries of art, music, and ritual. Misunderstanding them reduces that richness to a single flat stereotype. When we choose to see geisha as they truly are, artists, guardians of tradition, women who dedicate their lives to craft, we not only respect their culture, but we also challenge how media shapes our views. So let's set the record straight. Geisha are not what negative stereotypes made them out to be. They are artists, performers, and cultural icons who deserve respect, not misunderstanding. If you ever hear someone call geisha something dirty, correct them, because that's not just wrong, it erases the beauty of one of Japan's most refined traditions. All right, legends, that's the breakdown. If this helped clear up the myth, hit like, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more cultural deep dives. Until next time, keep learning, keep respecting, and stay curious. Peace. Did you know that a kimono is not just clothing, it's a secret language? Every color, every sleeve, every way it's worn tells a hidden story. And when we compare the glamorous oiran to the elegant geisha, their kimonos reveal two completely different worlds. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's decode the hidden messages of the kimono. Chapter 1. Kimono as a cultural code. Kimono in visual language in Japan. Not just beauty, symbol of class, role, and even personality. Both oiran and geisha use kimono to define their identity. Meichatatio, the color of desire versus elegance, oiran. Bold, flashy colors, crimson, gold, deep purple. These screamed wealth and seduction. Geisha, softer, refined tones, pale pink, white, subdued black. Subtle elegance over shock value. Chapter 3, the motifs that speak oiran. Dramatic motifs, dragons, phoenix, peonies, symbols of power and allure. Geisha, seasonal motifs. Cherry blossoms for spring, maple leaves for autumn. Always refined, poetic, and connected to nature. Chapter 4, the length of the sleeves. Oiran, extra long fura-sewed sleeves, dramatic and flowing, meant to emphasize movement and allure. Geisha, young Maiko wear long sleeves, youth vibrancy, but senior geiko shorten sleeves to show maturity and grace. Chapter 5, Obi, the waist sash, secrets, oiran. Obi tied in the front, partly practical, easy to untie, partly symbolic, seduction on display. Geisha, obi tied in the back, often with elegant knots, symbolizing modesty and artistry. Chapter 6, Walking the World, How They Wore It. Oiran. Towering platform sandals, stiff posture, slow and deliberate parade, oiran dochu. Every step prior spectacle. Geisha, graceful gliding walk in zori sandals. Movement light and fluid, like part of a dance. Chapter 7, Hairstyles and kanzashi, hair ornaments. Oiran, hair piled high, overloaded with pins, combs, and jewels, status symbols. Geisha, more elegant and seasonal hair ornaments, telling the month or festival. Less about wealth, more about refined taste. Chapter 8, Public Image in Kimono. Oiran, walking advertisement of luxury and sensuality. Their kimono, a billboard of status. Geisha, kimono, tool of subtle storytelling through art and seasons. More poetic, less provocative. Chapter 9, From Edo to Today. Oiran style lives on in historical parades and cosplay. Geisha kimono still actively worn in Kyoto's Hanamachi districts, evolving but keeping tradition alive. Chapter 10, Closing, Two Different Languages. So when you look at these kimonos side by side, it's like reading two different languages. Oiran spoke the language of power, glamour, and desire. Geisha spoke the language of elegance, art, and timeless refinement. So here's my question for you. If you had to choose one kimono to wear, would you pick the bold fire of the oiran or the quiet poetry of the geisha? Hit like, subscribe, and tell me your answer in the comments. Did you know that the dazzling hairstyles, kimonos, and mysterious beauty you see in anime, cosplay, and even modern fashion are inspired by courtesans of the past? That's right, oiran and geisha weren't just entertainers. They became cultural icons, shaping Japan's image for centuries. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at anime or J fashion the same way again. And before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and let's uncover Japan's hidden history together. Chapter 1. Who were the oiran? Oiran were high-class courtesans of the Edo period, 1603-1868. Unlike common sex workers, Oiran were celebrities, trained in poetry, music, dance, and conversation. Their style, massive hairstyles, ornate hairpins, and luxurious layered kimonos became the height of beauty. Chapter 2. The Geisha difference. Geisha emerged later, focusing more on performance and artistic entertainment. Where Oiran were about luxury and status, Geisha were about subtle charm, music, and dance. Both shaped ideals of Japanese femininity, but in different ways. Oiran as extravagance, Geisha as elegance. Chapter 3. Ukiyo-e. Spreading their image, artists of Edo immortalized Oiran and Geisha in ukiyo-e woodblock prints. These prints spread their look across Japan, making them pop culture stars long before TV or Instagram existed. Chapter 4. Influence in film classic Japanese cinema, like Mizoguchi's Street of Shame, borrowed heavily from geisha life. Even Hollywood picked it up. Memoirs of a Geisha created global fascination with the aesthetic. Their look, white makeup, elaborate kimono, graceful movement, became cinematic shorthand for Japan. Chapter 5. Anime and manga. Inspirations from Sakura Wars to Demon Slayer, Oiran and Geisha aesthetics are everywhere. Daki, the upper moon demon in Demon Slayer, is literally disguised as an Oiran, complete with elaborate kimono and hair. Meanwhile, geisha-like characters appear in countless series to symbolize elegance, mystery, or danger. Chapter 6. Cosplay culture. Anime conventions are filled with Oiran and geisha-inspired cosplays. Fans love the mix of historical beauty with fantasy flair, giant wigs, ornate hairpins, and flowing kimono sleeves. Cosplay keeps these traditions alive, reimagined for a new generation. Chapter 7. Japanese fashion, runways. Modern J-fashion designers borrow freely from Oiran and geisha style. High-platform shoes, okobo, kimono-inspired dresses, even hair ornaments show up in Harajuku streetwear. Some avant-garde designers like Yohji Yamamoto and Kansai Yamamoto remix these styles into global fashion shows. Chapter 8. Makeup and beauty trends. The stark contrasts of red lips and pale skin, inspired by geisha makeup, still influence J-beauty. Even in pop idols and fashion magazines, you see echoes of that minimal yet striking aesthetic. Chapter 9. Music and stage performances. From kabuki theater to J-pop music videos, Oiran and geisha imagery keep returning. Idols sometimes dress in kimono with modern twists for concerts, blending tradition with pop. It shows that even in Japan's most futuristic culture, tradition never really disappears. Chapter 10. Closing. The timeless icons. So here's the truth. Oiran and geisha weren't just figures of the past. They became cultural blueprints. Their style, their aura, and their artistry live on. In anime, in cosplay, in fashion, even on global runways. And maybe that's the most fascinating thing. A tradition born in Edo, Japan, still inspires the world today. If you loved uncovering this hidden influence, smash that like button, subscribe for more cultural deep dives, and tell me in the comments which anime or fashion moment made you first notice the Oiran or geisha vibe. Ever thought Oiran and geisha were the same? One was a dazzling courtesan who ruled the night with glamour and exotic allure. The other, an elegant artist, captivating through subtlety and refined arts. Tonight, we'll explore how Japan's two most iconic entertainers seduced their guests, but in very different ways. Before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and let's step into the floating world of Oiran and geisha. Chapter 1. Setting the stage. Yoshiwara versus Hanamachi Oiran, center of Edo's licensed red light district, Yoshiwara. Geisha worked in Hanamachi, flower towns, as entertainers at banquets. Different worlds, different purposes. Chapter 2. Appearance and allure. Oiran, layers of extravagant kimono, sky-high hair ornaments, towering wooden sandals, koma geta. Designed to overwhelm and seduce. Geisha, understated kimono, elegance in simplicity, subtle beauty. Chapter 3. Entertainment style. Oiran, conversation, wit, exotic allure, and sometimes intimacy. Geisha, Trained in shamisen, dance, tea ceremony, poetry. Entertainment was about art, not sex. Chapter 4. The Art of Seduction. Oiran, direct, glamorous, look-at-me energy. Guests competed for her attention. Geisha, indirect, refined, using grace, humor, and art to charm. Guests felt privileged to be in her presence. Chapter 5. The experience of meeting them. Visiting an oiran, costly, highly ritualized, felt like attending court for a queen. Hiring a geisha, intimate banquet, personal atmosphere, emotional engagement through performance. Chapter 6. Movement and body language. Oiran, dramatic slow walk, oiran dochu. Sandals forcing tiny steps, commanding eyes. Geisha, graceful dance, subtle fan gestures, fluid movements that spoke more than words. Chapter 7. Audience and status. Oiran, clientele were wealthy merchants, samurai or nobles, status symbols. Geisha, hired by elites, politicians, and artists, valued for companionship and talent. Chapter 8. Influence on arts and pop culture. Oiran, immortalized in ukiyo-e prints, symbols of luxury. Geisha, symbols of Japanese refinement, still active today in Kyoto. Anime, cosplay, and films often confuse the two, but their vibes are worlds apart. Chapter 9. Decline and survival. Oiran, system faded with Meiji reforms and modernization. Now seen only in historical parades. Geisha, survived by adapting, keeping focus on artistry. Still active today in Kyoto. Chapter 10. Closing. Two faces of seduction. Oiran and Geisha both seduced, but one dazzled through overwhelming glamour, while the other enchanted with elegance and restraint. If you walked into Edo, Japan, would you chase the exotic fire of the Oiran or the subtle charm of the Geisha? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you love uncovering hidden sides of Japanese history. And drop a comment. Which one do you think would captivate you more? Ever seen a beautiful woman in Kyoto with a white painted face and dazzling kimono and thought, ah, a geisha? Well, maybe not. She might actually be a maiko, an apprentice geisha. The difference between maiko and geiko is subtle but huge, and it reveals a secret hierarchy inside Japan's most mysterious tradition. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be able to spot the difference instantly. And hey, before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and let's uncover the hidden world of Kyoto's entertainers together. Chapter 1. Who are maiko and geiko? Maiko, our apprentice geisha, usually teens. Geiko, fully trained geisha, senior artists. Kyoto uses geiko, Tokyo says geisha. Think of it as high school versus university graduates. Same world, different levels. Chapter 2. Makeup, white versus natural. Maiko, full white face, bright red and pink eye accents, red lips only partially filled to show youth. Geiko, lighter makeup, often more natural, sometimes no white base at all. The transition in makeup marks maturity and status. Chapter 3. Kimono differences. Maiko, extravagant long-sleeved hikizuri kimono with huge trailing obi, belt, tied in elaborate styles. Geiko, simpler, more elegant kimono with shorter sleeves and a flatter obi. Maiko are meant to dazzle. Geiko to embody refined elegance. Chapter 4. Hairstyles and hairpieces. Maiko, real hair styled in ornate shapes, decorated with seasonal kanzashi hairpins. Geiko, wear wigs, katsura, more understated, no seasonal changes. Hairstyles show whether she's still training or has already graduated. Chapter 5. Training and skills. Maiko, still learning shamisen, dance, tea ceremony, witty conversation. Geiko, masters of the arts, able to lead banquets and impress elite clients with perfect performance. The hierarchy is visible not just in look, but in skill. Chapter 6. The social role. Maiko, more like celebrities in training, drawing attention with charm and youth. Geiko, the ones in control of the banquet atmosphere, respected for wisdom and artistry. Clients treat Geiko with more prestige, while Maiko are in the spotlight for their freshness. Chapter 7, The Journey of Transformation. A Maiko's career usually lasts 5 years before graduating into Geiko. Graduation, Erikai, the turning of the collar, where her wardrobe, makeup, and hairstyle shift into Geiko style. It's like a rite of passage. Chapter 8, Pop Culture Representations. Movies and anime often confuse Maiko with Geiko, using geisha as a blanket term. But in Kyoto, locals instantly know who is who. Example, memoirs of a geisha blurred the line, while Kyoto documentaries show the real distinction. Chapter 9, Influence on Fashion and Tourism. Tourists love dressing up as Maiko for photos because the look is flashier and more colorful. Geiko-inspired fashion is subtler, influencing minimalist, kimono-inspired high fashion. The hierarchy continues to influence global aesthetics. Chapter 10, Closing. Elegance in Layers. So here's the hidden truth. Maiko and Geiko aren't just different stages. They're two faces of Japanese tradition. One dazzling with youth and color, the other glowing with refinement and mastery. Next time you see a white-painted face in Kyoto's alleys, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. If you enjoyed this cultural deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more hidden histories, and drop a comment. Would you rather embody the vibrant energy of a Maiko or the refined grace of a Geiko? Everyone knows Memoirs of a Geisha, the book and the movie that mesmerized the world with the story of a young girl named Sayuri, rising from poverty to become a legendary geisha. But here's the real question. Was Sayuri real? Or was she just a beautiful illusion created by an American writer? Today, we're diving deep into the truth behind Memoirs of a Geisha. Over the next 2 hours, we'll uncover the history of geisha, the real-life inspirations, the controversies, and the cultural impact that shook both Japan and the West. Buckle up! This isn't just a movie review. This is a journey into hidden history. Arthur Golden publishes the novel in 1997. Instant worldwide hit. Millions of copies translated into dozens of languages. For many Western readers, this was their first glimpse into the mysterious geisha world. But here's the twist. Japanese readers were shocked because much of it didn't match reality. Sayuri is fictional, but Golden based her on interviews with Minako Iwasaki, one of Kyoto's most famous geisha. Problem: Minako never agreed to be exposed. In geisha culture, privacy is sacred. When the book revealed too much, she sued Arthur Golden for defamation. This turned into a huge scandal, because for the first time, the private world of geisha was dragged into a courtroom. Minako Iwasaki versus Arthur Golden, why she was furious. Geisha aren't prostitutes, but memoirs blurred the line. Western readers thought geisha courtesans, when in reality, geisha are artists of dance, music, and performance. The lawsuit settled out of court, but the damage to geisha reputation had already been done. Her story in detail. Born into a geisha house in Kyoto, trained from childhood, became one of the most celebrated geiko in Gion. Entertained politicians, royalty, and celebrities. Retired young because she felt the geisha world was too restrictive. Wrote her own book, Geisha of Gion, or Geisha, A Life, to correct the myths spread by Golden. Compare Sayuri's story versus real geisha lives. Example, the mizuage, coming-of-age ritual in the novel, was portrayed as being auctioned to the highest bidder. In real history, that practice was not universal, and in modern times considered deeply inaccurate. Highlight how memoirs dramatized geisha life to fit Western storytelling. What geisha really are: artists, musicians, entertainers, not sex workers. Their training, shamisen, dance, tea ceremony, conversation, poetry. Their role in Kyoto and Japanese society. Why geisha became such a strong cultural symbol. Chapter 7. Hollywood's Memoirs of a Geisha. 15 minutes, 2005 movie adaptation. Visually stunning, won Oscars. Cast included Zhang Zi, Gong Li, Michelle Yeoh, all Chinese actresses playing Japanese geisha. This sparked controversy in Japan and China. Many Japanese critics argued the movie turned geisha into exotic fantasy objects for Western eyes. Despite controversy, the book and film boosted worldwide fascination with geisha. Cosplay, fashion, anime references, art exhibitions, geisha imagery became global shorthand for mystery and elegance. But it also reinforced stereotypes and misunderstandings. Are geisha symbols of oppression or empowerment? Some argue they were women trapped in a rigid system. Others argue they had unique independence compared to average women in old Japan. Mineko herself said, "We were not victims. We were professionals." Today, the book and movie remain iconic, but controversial. Mineko's counter-narrative reminds us, truth matters, not just the fantasy. Memoirs gave the world a fairy tale version of geisha, but the real history is even richer and more complex. So, was Sayuri real? The answer is no. She was a fictional character, built on fragments of a real woman's story, but twisted for drama. Memoirs of a geisha may be beautiful, but it also misled millions about what geisha truly are. And yet, that controversy gave us something priceless, the chance to talk about geisha, their art, and their culture in a deeper way. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more untold legends, and share this video with a friend who loves history with a twist. Because remember, behind every myth, every movie, and every story lies a truth waiting to be uncovered.
You open your eyes, and the lantern light flickers softly against the tatami floor. The sliding doors of shoji screens are painted with delicate cranes, and outside you hear the faint sound of geta sandals tapping against the stone path. For a moment, you are no longer yourself. You are here in Kyoto in the middle of the Edo period, a time when Japan was closed to much of the outside world, and your role, at least tonight, is to walk the path of a geisha. By entering the okiya, your journey begins in the okiya, the geisha house. You are not yet a full geisha. You are a maiko, an apprentice. Your days are long and filled with study. From the moment you rise before dawn, you are trained in every art that defines refinement. The three-stringed shamisen, the precise steps of the kyomai dance, the art of calligraphy, and the subtle skill of witty, elegant conversation. It is not enough to be beautiful. A geisha must be entertaining, captivating, and graceful in every movement, from pouring sake to laughing at a patron's joke without ever losing composure. As you kneel on the tatami, an older geisha, your oni-san, your older sister, guides you. She corrects the way you hold your shamisen pick, the way you bow, the way your eyes must lower when speaking to a samurai guest. You feel the weight of tradition pressing on your shoulders. This is no ordinary life. The transformation. The process of becoming a geisha is not only about skills. It is about appearance, an art form in itself. You sit in front of a mirror taller than you are, your face about to disappear beneath the careful strokes of oshiroi, the white makeup. The thick paste is spread across your skin, leaving only a small W shape unpainted at the nape of your neck, a mark of sensuality, visible only when you bow or pour tea. Your lips are painted crimson, at first only the lower lip, a sign of your apprenticeship. Your eyes are lined in charcoal, your brows brushed faint. Then comes the hair, your natural hair, twisted and bound into elaborate shapes, adorned with heavy pins and combs of lacquer and tortoiseshell. The kimono you wear is no simple garment. As a maiko, it is extravagant, long sleeves that sweep the floor, colors of spring blossoms, embroidered cranes, phoenixes, waves. The obi, the sash, is tied long and heavy down your back, so much that walking itself becomes an exercise in elegance. You look into the mirror and no longer see yourself. You see a symbol of Kyoto's hidden world. A night in the Ochaya. The sun falls and the lanterns glow across Hanamachi, the geisha district. You step carefully on wooden sandals, moving toward the Ochaya, the tea house. Patrons are already inside, wealthy merchants, samurai, sometimes government officials. The Ochaya is not a place of crude pleasure. It is a theater of subtlety. You pour sake, not as a servant, but as a performer. Every movement is deliberate. The turn of the wrist, the bow of the head, the soft laughter at a well-timed compliment. And when the shamisen begins, your role shifts again. You dance, slow, measured, a story told through gestures. Each fan movement recalls an ancient poem. Each glance downward suggests mystery. The room grows still. Your body speaks without words. For the patrons, this night will live in memory. For you, it is one of many. Tomorrow, you will rise again, train again, and perform again. The cycle never ends. The silent rules. Living as a geisha is not only about art. It is about survival in a world of strict rules. You are bound to your okiya until your debts are paid. Every lesson, every kimono, every ornament is a cost you must repay through years of work. Your private life does not belong to you. Even your relationships are shaped by contracts, patrons, and tradition. To step wrongly, to break the silent etiquette of the ochaya, is to bring shame not only upon yourself, but upon your entire house. Behind the painted smile is discipline, sacrifice, and resilience. The patron's role. One evening, a dana, a wealthy patron, enters the ochaya. His presence is quiet but commanding. He is not here for crude pleasure, nor for ownership, but for status. A relationship with a geisha is as much about prestige as it is about companionship. If he becomes your dana, he will support your training, your wardrobe, your career. But this too comes with obligation. You must balance his expectations while never losing your independence, for a geisha is not a courtesan. She is an artist, she belongs to no one. The line is delicate yet essential. The world outside, step outside the ochaya for a moment. The streets of Kyoto are alive. The dim glow of lanterns, the rustle of silk, the hush of voices passing through narrow alleys. To the ordinary townsfolk, geisha are figures of fascination, half myth, half reality. Some whisper rumors, confusing geisha with prostitutes, but those within the hanamachi know the truth. Geisha are protectors of elegance, keepers of Japan's intangible traditions. Still, the path is lonely. Many geisha never marry. Many grow old in service to the art, remembered only by the fleeting memories of patrons. Yet their existence shapes Kyoto's cultural soul. Passing of time, years pass in your story. The girl once called Maiko becomes geisha. The long, extravagant sleeves are replaced by shorter, more subdued kimono. The bright hair ornaments fade into simpler elegance. Your dance grows slower, deeper, wiser. You are no longer the student, you are the teacher. A new Maiko sits before you in the okiya, wide-eyed, trembling as you once were. You show her how to hold the shamisen pick. You correct the tilt of her bow. You watch her transformation, knowing she too will inherit the weight of this life. And so the cycle continues generation after generation. The modern reflection, fast forward to today. The geishas still exist, though their numbers have dwindled. Tourists in Kyoto glimpse them, sometimes mistaking actors for the real thing. But the true geisha, those trained for years in the okiya, remain guardians of a fading world. Their art is no less demanding, no less profound. In every bow, every fan movement, every flicker of painted lips, they carry centuries of history. And if you close your eyes, you can still hear the faint sound of gaita sandals echoing through stone alleys, the whisper of silk, the laughter behind paper screens. Ending. Your POV, as dawn breaks, you rise once more. The makeup is gone, the kimono is folded, but the spirit of the geisha lingers in your movements, in your silence, in your memory. You realize now, to be geisha is not to live for oneself, but to embody an art greater than any individual life. And as you step out into the streets of Kyoto, the lanterns fading in the morning light, you carry the weight of that history with every step. If this journey through history moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories that let you live the past through your own eyes. Share it with someone who loves Japan, and join me next time as we step into another forgotten world.